Jack and the Beanstalk. In this cottage, a little boy called Jack lived with his mother. They didn't have very much money, and sometimes not enough to eat. All they had was a cow called Flossie. Jack's mother said Flossie would have to be sold so they could buy food. Off Jack went to market. His mother cried as she waved him goodbye because she loved Flossie very much. On his way, Jack began to think of all the money he could get for his cow. Naturally, Flossie wasn't very happy about the whole business. As Jack walked through the countryside, he saw a strange old man coming towards him. The man said he was looking for a cow just like Flossie, and he'd like to buy her. "But," said the strange old man, "don't sell her for money. I will give you these magic beans for her." So Jack took the beans and ran home to his mother. Flossie went along with the strange old man. Jack's mother was furious. "Now," she said, "we have no money and no cow either. Oh, how could you be so stupid and take beans instead of money?" Jack said they were magic beans. "Whoever heard of magic beans?" said his mother. They are, shouted Jack. "This is all they're good for," shouted his mother as she threw them out of the window. Jack went to bed very upset. Very upset indeed. Next morning, Jack got up and went to the window. He couldn't believe what he saw. An enormous beanstalk had grown from the beans that had been thrown out of the window. It was so big, it seemed to go right up into the clouds. Jack started to climb it to see how high it was. Up, up, up he went. It seemed to go on forever. When he reached the top, this is what he saw. An enormous castle. Jack knocked at the castle door. There was no answer, so in he went. There inside stood the tallest woman he had ever seen. She said she was the wife of the giant who lived in the castle, and who liked to eat little boys for breakfast. "You'd better look out," said the giant's wife. "I can hear my husband coming." She put Jack in the huge oven so that he could hide. He peeped out to see what the giant looked like. "Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman," the giant roared. "Has there been anyone here?" "No," said his wife. But the giant didn't believe her and became annoyed. He sat at a table and had 2 whole sheep for his supper. After he had eaten, he started to count his gold, and soon he was fast asleep. As he snored, the whole castle shook. Quietly, Jack climbed out of the oven. He climbed onto the table, took some of the gold, and ran away as fast as his legs could carry him. He threw the bag of gold down onto the ground, and down the beanstalk he went after it. At the bottom, his mother was waiting. She was glad to see him again, as she'd been worried about him. With the gold, They bought lots of things they needed and were very happy. Jack couldn't wait to climb the beanstalk again. This time it was different, as the giant was at home. Suddenly Jack heard a tremendous roar. "Fee-fi-fo-fum," shouted the giant. "I smell the blood of an Englishman." Jack dived into the oven to hide. "There's a small boy here," roared the giant. "There isn't any such thing," answered his wife. "Oh, why don't you play with the hen that lays the golden eggs?" "All right," said the giant, and sat down to watch the golden eggs being laid. Jack watched everything from his hiding place. Egg after egg fell into the basket, and then, just as before, the giant fell asleep. Jack showed his mother the golden eggs and the hen that laid them, and he told her that now they'd be rich. They both remembered it had all happened because of Flossie the cow and the old man that Jack had met and the beans he had given to him, and they laughed and laughed and laughed. But Jack couldn't stay away from that beanstalk and had to climb it just once more. When he arrived, the giant was asleep. In front of him was his magic harp, which played without anyone touching it. Jack thought how much his mother would like it. They'd be able to listen to music whenever they wished. He grabbed it, and away he went with the harp under his arm. But he didn't know that the harp could talk as well as play music. He hadn't gone far when the harp started to shout for help. Out came the giant, yelling at the top of his voice. "I'll have you for my dinner," he screamed. Down the beanstalk after Jack he came, nearer and nearer. Jack was terrified. He didn't want to be eaten up by the giant. At the bottom, Jack yelled to his mother. "Bring an axe! Quick! Quick!" he cried at the top of his voice. Then he started to chop at the beanstalk. The beanstalk began to topple, with the giant still holding on to it. Suddenly, down it crashed. The hole it made was so big, it could have reached to the other side of the world. Now, who knows what the end of this story will be? Yes, you're absolutely right. Jack and his mother moved to a lovely new cottage and lived happily ever after.